Tune into ET now, and this is the Rise of India, starting off with the Money Show. And today we have a host of exciting things lined up for you. But first up, we'll talk about the recent development as far as the insurance space is concerned. The coronavirus epidemic is now in India after infecting over 94,000 people in over 75 countries across the world. The number of new cases in India has now gone up to 30, with the virus claiming a new victim in India, in Ghaziabad, with a travel history to Iran. India is gearing up to battle the coronavirus. Measures have been implemented at both centre and state levels. In fact, Union Health Minister Harshvardhan had briefed in the Rajya Sabha on India's preparedness to battle coronavirus and all the measures that have been put in place. In fact, we did get an update that IRDAI has issued guidelines for handling claims under coronavirus infection. Rahul Kumar joins us now with more details about that update. Rahul?
Well, amid coronavirus crisis, confusion and rumors, insurance regulator IRDAI has come up with the guidelines to handle the claims related to coronavirus. Now remember, there are 28 confirmed cases as of now in India of coronavirus, and insurance regulator want insurer to ensure that any claims which will arise due to coronavirus should be expeditiously handled. Now, if hospitalization is covered under the policy, then the cost of admissible medical expense during the course of treatment, including the quarantine period, shall be treated in accordance with the applicable terms and conditions of the policy. And all claims which will arise due to coronavirus, before rejecting any such claim, it should be reviewed by the claim review committee of the insurance company. Now, regulator has also asked the insurers to come up with a various comprehensive products which will deal with coronavirus. Now, this is primarily because there are 28 confirmed cases as of now which has been found in India, and there's a big confusion regarding the policy and regarding the insurance, and insurance regulator has now come up with the guideline regarding the claims.
Thanks, Rahul, for getting us that heads up about what exactly is it that IRDAI has told the insurers this time around in the latest release. Amit Chhabra joins us right now. He's the business head of health insurance at policybazaar.com. Amit, thank you so much for taking time out for us today. It's a very relevant question. A lot of people out there, many of us are worried, are talking about coronavirus, its symptoms, how to deal with it, how to prevent it. But a big question which also has, is still unanswered is what happens if somebody were to get this disease? How will the treatment happen? And more importantly, will their insurance, the general health insurance that they would have, will it cover it? Amit?
Yes, and that's a very, very pertinent question that, that everybody has in mind. Will coronavirus treatment be covered in my health insurance policy? See, it's very, very simply to answer that, yes. In most of the insurance policies, the health insurance policies that customers buy today, coronavirus is covered. See, coronavirus didn't exist, say, about 2 months back, right? So there is no specified exclusion which says that coronavirus will not be covered. The only thing that a customer has to keep in mind is that they should have the policy before they contracted coronavirus. So it should not be a case that that you buy a policy after contracting coronavirus. Apart from that, there is nothing at all that a customer has to worry. Coronavirus will be covered in the exact same way, say a dengue is covered or a malaria is covered or any other ailment is covered. It's like any other ailment from an insurance perspective. So everything from hospitalization to pre and post hospitalization expenses to daycare treatments, everything gets covered which is related to coronavirus.
The statement issued by IRDAI to insurers, does that plug all the loopholes that perhaps might have been in any of the insurers' documents or their terms and conditions? Does it plug all the gaps?
I think there were no loopholes as such, but the regulation is actually just stressing on the fact that customers should not face any inconvenience when it comes to treatments around coronavirus. So basically, all claims must be expedited, and anything that gets rejected, it has to be thoroughly investigated before it gets rejected, or whatever, for whatever the reason may be. But I think the regulation clearly is saying that insurance companies must very, very clearly look at all cases which come for coronavirus and give them that special treatment, because customers are worried, insurance holders are worried, what happens to their claims in case they get infected by coronavirus. So I think it just puts that extra bit of focus that the insurance companies will do to ensure that customers do not get worried or do not suffer, in case something happens to them. So it's more of that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just reading out a statement. It says that the cost of admissible medical expenses during the course of treatment, including during the quarantine period, shall be settled in accordance to the applicable terms and conditions of policy contract and the extant regulatory framework. So, are there any cases perhaps that wherein the patient or the customer of the policy could face any hurdle?
Not really. So as I said earlier also, coronavirus is the same as how a dengue would be treated or a heart ailment would be treated. So starting from the basic hospitalization expenses to any expenses that you may have incurred, pre-hospitalization for, say, getting some medical checkups done, to some post-hospitalization expenses, which is things like, medicines that you have to take after hospitalization, or any daycare treatments, any injections that you may have to take after hospitalization, all of them gets covered. So I think the regulation, the regulator has clearly specified that corona has to be given the same treatment as any other illness. There is no, this can't be treated separately, and that's why it has to comply with the existing guidelines of the health insurance product that a customer already has.
So Amit, are insurers already working
in short, it basically means...
Please go ahead.
Sorry, so in short, what I was saying was, in short, customers need not worry about anything at all. If they have health insurance, then coronavirus is covered. It's as simple as that.
Okay. So, are you also witnessing any, insurers now redesigning their policies or trying to sort of widen their horizon when it comes to the diseases that fall under the ambit of a basic health insurance policy?
Yes, so I think a start has already been done on that. A very innovative product has come out by Digit General Insurance Company, where it's a fixed benefit product, where if you contract coronavirus, a certain amount is paid out to you instantly. So it's not an indemnity product where it does not cover the cost of hospitalization, but in case if you contract coronavirus, then a certain amount will be paid off to you, and the sum insured there ranges from 25,000 rupees to 2 lakh rupees. But as I was saying, I think it's a start. We may see more innovation happening around this. But again, see, health insurance products are, they have their own gestation period of coming out. I think as a step one, which most health insurance companies have done or are doing as we speak, is they're clarifying that, coronavirus is covered as a step one, because if it gets covered, then most of the, anxiety that customers may have or confusion that customers may have, that gets resolved immediately.
Right. Can you also tell us how it's going to work? For instance, say a person has been detected and has actually tested positive for coronavirus. He goes to the hospital. In terms of payment, how is it likely to be? Is it going to be like any other policy, any other disease or surgery or procedure that you are admitted for?
Yes, it's exactly that, right? So it's like getting treated for any other disease. So the claim could be paid cashless or it could be reimbursement based, depending upon if you're going in the network hospital or not. But yeah, pretty much the procedures remain the same. Some basic documents have to be given to the insurance company, and post that they either give an approval to the hospital for treatment, or in case it's a reimbursement claim, then the reimbursement money will be given directly to the customer. So that depends on which network hospital you're going to.
Okay.
I think for the customer, the one important thing to understand here is that they have adequate sum insured with them. See, because coronavirus or any illness for that matter, you never know how much you may end up spending at the hospital to get the best treatment. And when you're ill, the last thing you would want is compromising on the kind of treatment that you want. So I think what's important for the customer is to understand the adequacy of sum insured. Do they have enough sum insured so that if something happens to them or their families, they have adequate sum insured? And what is adequate is at least something like 10 lakh rupees per person who is covered in health insurance. should be the minimum sum insured that one must look at. So if you already have it, great. If you don't, then one must look to extend the sum insured further and to buy at least 10 lakh rupees per person sum insured.
Okay. So that's definitely a very big lesson to be learned, because anything can happen at any given time, and you need to be insured actually, and in order to be assured of your financial position and be able to pay for your treatment without actually worrying or without compromising in any way. But do you see now this as a trend, because typically such diseases are not included this is, of course, coronavirus has been an unforeseen circumstance, but do you see awareness? Do you see the purchases of health insurances going up after this incident, after the epidemic has really blown out of proportion? Now it's almost claimed about thousands of lives.
Yeah, so that is definitely a trend that we're seeing, and I think while in February we saw customers talking about it slightly, because while it was it was becoming a global phenomena, in India it was pretty much not there. Specifically the last 2-3 days since we have seen the advent of coronavirus in India, we are suddenly seeing actually a large trend of customers who are coming in talking about coronavirus, trying to understand what is covered, what is not covered. So we have seen almost a 30 to 40% increase in inquiries of customers coming in and asking for health insurance and if coronavirus is covered in that or not. So I think that is definitely there. It's unfortunate that that the disease is spreading and there's no proper cure for that is still being worked out. So I think what customers are thinking is of being adequately covered, so that if it comes to it, at least they're financially not hurt because of the treatment costs.
At the same time, are you seeing an equal amount of pickup or inquiries for term insurance as well? Being a part of Policy Bazaar, any trend if you could spot for us?
There is. We are seeing a jump there as well. But I think health insurance is sort of the first instant purchase that comes to anybody's mind the moment you think about coronavirus. So I think the impact is on both, but I think health insurance is becoming more like an instinctive purchase. It's almost like a trigger now that I didn't have health insurance. What if I contract corona?
So the silver lining out of the epidemic is that people are definitely being more cautious, more conscious, and more aware of what they need to do in order to be able to assure a good life for their loved ones and a healthy life for themselves without any worries about finances and treatment expenses, right?
Yes, I think one of the challenges that health insurance and term insurance typically, why the penetration is so low is because there's no trigger to buy them. Compared to car insurance, whereas there's a clear trigger, right? There's a challan waiting for you if you don't have a car insurance. Health and term have never had a trigger. I think what's happening is people are right now scared, and that is what is triggering them to think of insurance, because there's a fear lurking around that what if I contract corona.
Can we expect the insurance rates to go up for term as well as for health, given that the demand is also now rising? Should our viewers who are looking to perhaps subscribe to any of these do it now instead of waiting perhaps longer and pay more interest?
See, that may happen, but I think it's going to be a slightly long-term process, because insurance prices don't change that frequently, and it's a long process in itself for insurance prices to react. So it might be a bit early from a health insurance perspective specifically, because we are just seeing coronavirus come into India. So a bit early, I think, to say that prices may increase. But yes, if this continues over a long term and has a huge impact, then yes, definitely it may happen. On the term insurance side, I think this is a trend that we are already seeing. In fact, prices are supposed to increase post-March, and that's so there is a very clear trigger there from a customer viewpoint, because once prices increase in term insurance, prices increase for you forever, for life, right? Because prices are locked when you buy the term insurance. So I think from both health and term insurance perspectives, yes, for a customer, while there is a trigger right now because they are scared of the coronavirus, one must look to buy it as soon as possible, because you never know what might happen in the future.
Okay. All right, Amit. Great chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining us at a very critical time like this and educating and making our viewers aware as well. Thank you so much. Once again, we'll slip into a short break here. We have much more lined up when we come back. Stay tuned.